was playing in a basketball tournament and I got hit in the back of the head and my head kind of bounced forward and I felt like I had like a tunnel vision for a moment, didn't lose consciousness. As an athlete, you just keep going, you shake it off and keep playing. So that's what I did for that whole weekend and went back to work on Monday and tried to work through it and progressively started to notice just a whole host of symptoms that most traumatic brain injury people will say they experience at some point. I had headaches. It began as ringing in my ears. I had dizziness, motion sensitivity, fatigue, brain fog, just not feeling like myself. I had a decreased tolerance for exercise. I was just everything you could think of, I basically was struggling with it. Had a hard time focusing. I'm very outgoing. I love being the life of the party, and I just wanted to be withdrawn.
We met in college, and we both were college athletes, so we both get like, hey, we're gonna push through this pain and we'll get better. But he didn't, and he was actually getting worse. And it was really concerning because just every aspect of him was getting worse and he wasn't himself anymore.
Light sensitivity, sound sensitivity, loud noises, bright lights would just overwhelm me. I couldn't go outside for a month. I just slept all day doing the traditional model. They say sleep it off, and that wasn't helping either. I couldn't go to work and do an 8-hour day without feeling symptoms like headaches, migraines. I had never had a migraine before in my life. I'm 33. At this time I was 31, never had a migraine, didn't know what that felt like, thought I was having a stroke because I'm a doctor of physical therapy, so my medical mind is working, kind of playing out this puzzle, and I can't figure it out. I don't know what's going on. So I'm trying to take care of patients. I'm trying to manage all the things that come as a clinical director with problems and issues, and the more they keep coming to me, the more my symptoms just keep getting more exaggerated.
It was really frustrating because we weren't getting any answers. They were only looking and treating the symptoms and not getting to the root of the problem.
And I'm wondering if I'm going to continue to get worse, or even if I stayed the same, that was still intolerable. I can't work, and I'm not working. How are we going to meet our bills? How are we going to provide and do what we need to do as adults with kids who are depending on us? And so those thoughts really started to get real dark, and I had some really tough days.
It was a really difficult time.
So I started just researching some of the sites I was coming across and some of the information that I was reading, and so I got my hands on Dr. Clark Elliott's book, The Ghost in My Brain, started flipping through those pages, and I'm like, wow, this guy's really describing it, like hitting the, right on the nose. So at that point, being totally dejected, knowing that I can't work, I just figured it was time to try anything and everything. And so Mind Eye Institute came on my radar and started watching the videos and seeing the survivors who had improved and hearing their stories, their symptoms they were dealing with, and it sounded real similar to what I was going through. We started with Mind Eye Institute, and so we were in there doing all the testing and all the cognitive puzzles, much more than just the eye exam. And it really was beyond what I was expecting because it was so thorough. And then by the time I met Dr. Zelinsky, and I was able to go through the Z-Bell testing and the cube that you reach and you point, it was that aha moment when I realized something isn't right, and this woman knows that something's not right, because that's really was one of the hardest parts in this recovery, is feeling like you're not understood, or that you're making it up, or you're exaggerating your symptoms when you know how you feel and you don't feel like yourself. And so she really made me to understand that there is something wrong and that she was able to help. So the first pair of lenses that I opened, I put them on, and immediately I felt something. And the more I wore them, the better I felt with them. I would say at this point I'm at 90%, which is a huge improvement. I mean, I went from disabled and unable to work or even play with my kids to being able to work full time and I'm exercising again. I actually was able to start training for a marathon. I really wanted to push myself. I was able to do that because I could see the improvements that were happening. Some of the improvements I had, my migraines went away almost completely. The ringing in my ears has almost like completely gone away, which I didn't think that was going to be able to happen. The motion sensitivity, the dizziness, that's completely non-existent at this point. The difficulty remembering and concentrating, paying attention, multitasking, all of those things improved. I was finding it hard to really attend to my patients because my symptoms were starting to creep up. Now I can work through my whole workday and I'm not getting those symptoms. And I'm not coming home feeling absolutely drained to where I can't play with my kids and be present with my wife. That was really tough for me, like giving everything I had, emptying the bucket at work and then coming home and having nothing left for them wasn't fair either. So now my endurance is more, my fatigue is less, my energy and my drive is more. Across the board, it's all improved. I would say Mind Eye Institute was revolutionary for me. I wrote to Dr. Z and I said, how do you thank someone for giving you your life back? And I know that may sound dramatic, but I can play with my kids again. I can exercise. I can be present with my wife and not feel like she has to do everything. If anyone has symptoms that may be related to traumatic brain injury, I wouldn't hesitate to refer them here or send them that way.
I'm forever grateful, forever thankful, and I definitely have seen immense improvement, and I'd highly recommend it to anybody that has hit a wall, or if they're interested. It's going to take a little time, but it will definitely be beneficial.
I'm 100% an advocate. I've benefited personally, and I only want others to get help that they need because it's hard to find good providers, but Mind Eye is definitely one of those.